Ayo, what's outside is within. The mind regulates the hand that masters the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, but the tongue is mightier still. The stargate to the mind's revealed. The vortex.
Peace, everybody watching. Cyclonious back with another episode of Real Talk with Kevin. And basically, we just had Carnival, and it was so interesting for me because when I started to reflect on going to Carnival, because I went there with my brethren, I took my daughter the day before, and I went with my brethren the day after, and I'm seeing everybody doing what they're doing and carrying on. I'm saying to myself, how did this all start? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously we know back in like wherever we're from, you know, the indigenous places, we always have carnivals, etc. So we know what's going on there. But how did this really start within the UK? So that's really what I wanted to fling some questions towards you and get your mindset on some of these issues. So yeah, the first question that I do have is, can you share with us the significance of the Black history embedded in the roots of Notting Hill Carnival and how it has evolved over the years to become what it is today?
So really, I mean, a starting point would be from really the end of the Second World War. Mm-hmm. So 1939 to 1945, the Second World War was going on. It ended. England, I mean, people, if you see images of England then, people wouldn't even understand how decimated England was from that war. And there was a definite need. I mean, there was a labour deficit to fill at that time. Mm-hmm. And the main place that Britain looked for was across its colonies, isn't it, in the Caribbean. So looking to fill that labour deficit, there had already been black people representing the army in the war. They'd been here. Mm-hmm. Some people, I think, got it misconstrued that there was just a call out for people from the colonies, but people already sort of half assimilated into British culture anyway. They'd been here, and some of them wanted to stay. Okay. Some of them had heard about Britain and it being sort of a place paved with gold, and they were willing to come across because they saw England as the mother country. Mm-hmm. So that was all going on. They needed to fill this deficit. Windrush, 1948, Tilbury Docks. They came over. And really the Black history that contributed to Carnival was just purely on racial tension, discrimination, and just hardship. Basically, you had people like Rackman, a famous half Polish and Jewish landlord that would be renting accommodation to black people 10 times more than the average person. You know, so you was getting hit financially there. You was finding it hard to access jobs, because already in 1919 they had already had a riot regarding minorities being over here at certain seafronts, seaports. They'd had riots anyway because the indigenous white people here were upset that people were taking jobs. So nothing had changed by the time it got to the 1940s and people coming over here. There's still this tension. You're taking our jobs, also taking our women. So from the soldiers that had been here previously and that had gone out with white women or impregnated them, unfortunately those women were also subject to extreme racism, having mixed race children. So there was a load of tension going on at that time. And what emerged was really a lady called Claudia Jones, and she came about and started wanting really to get that bad taste out of black people's mouths. You know, there was things that were going on in regards to music. Black people come over here, really colourful, playing loud music, and that also was a thing. But because that was central to the feel-good factor in black people's lives, music, Claudia Jones had decided that some sort of event should happen. So that happened as an indoor carnival in the 1950s, and also as a consequence the 1958 riots, Notting Hill riots, where, you know, the Teddy Boys decided to get involved in all that, and Kelso Cochrane got killed and murdered. So there's definite need for some sort of upliftment of the black community. So Claudia Jones came forward with that, and it's funny because a lot of people don't know that it was actually a lady that was half Russian and half Native American, Ronnie Laslet, that started up the outdoor carnival.
Okay.
And that began with the help of people like Selwyn Baptiste, Leslie Palmer, and Russell Henderson, who was the first guy to actually lead a band and play procession, steel pan out there. So really, carnival itself came out from hardship, from black people's hardship, and the murder of Kelso Cochrane on top of that.
Really interesting to know that, you know, you've got people from different ethnic backgrounds playing their role into, you know, something we see as, you know, a black event, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, and she was quite a hard, that woman Ronnie, I mean, she already also created a play group, and if you go online and see the play group that she, for young people that she created, there's a image of Muhammad Ali being there and kids signing autographs. So she's done a lot for the community, this white lady.
Pretty dope, man. In what ways do you believe the Notting Hill Carnival has positively impacted the representation and celebration of black culture both within the UK and on a global scale?
Well, everyone knows about Notting Hill Carnival, and I think, I mean, I haven't been for a long time now, but I think the last time I went was 10 years ago, and the sort of demographic landscape had changed at Carnival now. So you know that everyone's heard about it because there's people from everywhere. I mean, there was people from everywhere, but it seemed predominantly black in my day when I was going. I mean, I was going from 1982, 83, when I was like 13. So it just seemed like there was mainly the black demographic there. But now, I mean, everyone talks about Notting Hill Carnival. People talk about crop over. People talk about Trinidad Carnival, etc. But Notting Hill Carnival's always been a sort of centerpiece as a carnival. But oh God,
The question was, in what ways do you believe the Notting Hill Carnival has positively impacted and represented the celebration of black culture both within the UK and on a global scale?
So I think really, if you think about the people that contributed to Carnival musically, I mean, calypsonians like Lord Woodbine and Lord Kitchener. London is the place for me. Everyone knows that tune, you know. Yeah. So on a calypso level, a musical level, Duke Vin, King Tubby's, all that musical representation sort of underpinned Carnival, black music. So it's always been sort of central to everyone's ears. All right, we're going to go to Carnival, there's black music, there's black food, there's just this whole cultural experience at Carnival. So for me, in regards to a global scale, anyone that comes to England in August, that's one of the main places they want to go. Notting Hill Carnival, just to experience what's going on there.
Yeah. How can we ensure that the authentic spirit and essence of the Notting Hill Carnival, rooted in the black community's history and traditions, are preserved and respected amidst potential commercializations and external influences?
I don't think you can stop it. It's quite strange that evolution, you can't have an impact on how things are going to evolve certain times.
Yeah, right.
So to preserve that, there'll have to be people at the forefront spearheading that sort of message, or sort of implementing or inputting more black orientated aspects into the carnival in a certain way. I don't know if it can be done. I think the carnival as it is now, it'll evolve to a different level. I mean, back in the day, there was not all of this sort of barricaded off. You was free to roam.
That's right.
So that's something that's changed. The police presence usually used to come in the night more than being there all the time. That's changed. So I think to actually still keep that deep-rooted black cultural essence is going to be hard unless you're going to sort of diversify and have something else spin off the carnival. Or like previously back in the day, I haven't been to carnival for ages. You used to have, you go to things after the carnival. But it's going to be hard work to ever do that because things change anyway. It's in a state of flux.
I agree, man. I think it's something, if that's what most people was concerned with, then, that should have been implemented from earlier on and carried on tradition. But I don't think that, I think, like you said, once it's out there and it's amongst the public, it just grows and evolves and moves however it does. So as we look towards the future, what changes or developments do you envision for the Notting Hill Carnival to continue honouring its historical significance while adapting to the evolving societal landscape and diverse cultural influences?
Man, the carnival for some people in their minds has already been diluted down. It's a real hard ask for people to change. A lot of people just go to carnival to have fun.
Yeah.
Now the whole historical essence has sort of been smashed to smithereens. People go down there to get high, dance up half naked. The scenes I saw from the last carnival, for me, were actually quite sickening. Young ladies are wearing barely anything on their bodies. Guys are out there grabbing girls and pulling them a certain way. It's become quite a twisted celebration in a sense. So I don't know. That's actually quite a hard question because the way it's evolved right now is just a big rave, but indecent. An indecent big rave, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And that's coming from an older guy standpoint. If I was young now, at 14, 15, 16, 17, I'd be loving the carnival. It'd be a beautiful thing. I'll be, the day carnival's going, I'd have all my peeps there. We'd be going down there with bottles of drink, etc., and enjoying it. But as an older guy, looking into the carnival, I can only. It's like rap music now. I can be ultra critical, but it won't be positive.
No, I hear you, and I agree, man. I think like it is like a big rave, but it's also like it's a place where people are letting out their deepest, darkest sort of thoughts and feelings. Like, the reason why I say that is like in a normal rave, some women do dress a certain way, but majority of them don't. But I find like out there, it's an excuse to put on these so-called carnival outfits, or maybe they might not even be carnival outfits. They'll just put on something which is going to grab a lot of attention. And the way the guys are grabbing onto the girls and handling them, and the women are like, a lot of the times they're with it. So I just find it a bit like, it's a bit much.
I think there's a correlation between carnival as an event and social media and what you want to post. Yeah, so things aren't the same anymore like that. People want to post things on social media, show they had a good time or they were doing this and doing that. So there's part of that autonomy that you have on social media to be able to be who you want to be that you can replicate in carnival.
And at the same time, a lot of people will do these posts and these sort of things like that to get the likes and the shares. It's not even really to, something that they're really into per se, but it's just something to say, look at this.
Yeah.
React to this.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so in your opinion, how important is it for younger generations to understand and appreciate the black history of the Notting Hill Carnival? And what role can education and awareness play in ensuring its legacy is sustained for years to come?
I think it's very important for young people to understand. I mean, young people, again, they don't even understand the history, you know, the racial tension, the adversities we faced, the discrimination, and how the efforts of people for us to exist now in a certain way contributed to the carnival. So I think, for me, yeah, it's great. But young people, a lot of young people don't care about that. I think historically, unless the work's being done in the homes with mum and dad teaching about history, nowhere else is going to teach you the history. Not in a proper way. Unless you're going to pick up a book by Robin Walker, a Carla, or some other academic from England, there isn't much that the young people are going to be able to access.
That's right.
The national curriculum isn't going to give you that, and they're not going to focus on carnival anyway, unless, you know, on a sociological level, if they're talking about racism and discrimination, if, you know, that was a high point, 1958 riots, you know. So, but I you know, it is valuable for the kids to know, but a lot of the kids have become detached because the parents aren't teaching them anything at home.
That's right.
You know, I'm a true advocate of teaching your children about black history, their origins, the adversities we face, but more so the real definite efforts that have been put in to you know, fighting discrimination and racism. Also the achievements of black people, all those things are so important to the building of self-esteem and self-identity. So it'd be good, but everything starts at home.
I totally agree. Everything does start at home, and it's just a shame that a lot of people that are supposed to be passing on like the torch, they never had the torch to begin with, you know.
And I think a lot of them, you know, it's sad for me that capitalism is such a powerful socio-economic tool for people our age, older and a bit younger. Learning about history isn't as valuable as getting that money.
That's right.
Or getting that new car, or getting a car that looks better than the next door neighbours,
Yeah.
or getting a PlayStation 5 for my kid because next door have got a PlayStation 5 and we've only got a 4 or a 3 or a Switch or whatever. There's these underlying sort of materialistic competitions that draw people away from actually immersing themselves in knowledge and information that will stand their family on good strong foundations.
Totally agree.
Yo, what's outside is within. The mind regulates the hand that masters the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, but the tongue is mightier still. The stargate to the mind's revealed. The vortex.